Another dream about him.
Alrighty. Hello, everybody. Oh, dang it. I did screw it up. I was going to say this is perfect, and now I can't. The visual's all messed up. Why is it not showing both of us, I wonder? Let's see here. Hang on. I can't hear you either, my friend. Hang on, do I have you muted? No. You still have a microphone?
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, but what's going on with this visual's all...
Oh, I'm not looking at the stream. Is it messed up?
Yeah, it's all sorts of messed up, dude.
Oh yeah, your skin's all messed up.
Okay, hang on. Not there.
Wait, is it?
Like, I'm missing for some reason on the shot here. Oddly enough. If we just turn this... Nope, that's not it. It's like the scene has been changed. Oddly
Your
enough.
Discord in a different format?
No, it's not. I don't think. Let's see. Let's just see if we do a little bit of... What if we move... Hang on, man. We're getting there.
Isn't the problem based on what I'm seeing, but I'm way taller than I normally am because I'm having to use a new chair that sits way taller.
No, it's just like the scene's screwed up.
Yeah.
So, Oh, why do you do this to me? Why do you do this to me? Oh, okay, I found myself. I got like moved totally off screen.
Sounded deep, man.
What do you say?
I found myself.
Oh. Okay, hang on. Dude, I felt like we were pinging. I was like, this one's gonna go off without a hitch. We're there.
Dude, it's funny because you know how earlier I asked you, I was like, "Are we doing this at 12 or 1?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay, cool." And then I, not that I forgot, but I looked at my phone and it was 1 o'clock, and I was like, "Oh God!" Like I had even like been thinking about it, and then it still almost completely crept by me.
Well, to get on the same page with everyone, I'm just going to throw it out there. OBS, just like for whatever reason, I don't know what affects this, but you will close it. It's kind of like, the meme about Microsoft Word doc, where it's like, yeah, I can just insert this little clip art here. And then like
Oh, yeah.
everything, like you'll close OBS with everything as it is. And then you open it and everything's moved for whatever
Yeah.
reason. So who knows?
Annoying.
Yeah. You begin in a tavern, says the voices behind the curtain have grunted. Yes, normally I have Will muted, but I did not mute him until after the grunt.
Yeah, that was my bad. It's well, speaking of settings changing, it's because it was on a different mic.
Mm.
I had myself muted too, but it was my main mic. For some reason, it switched to my webcam mic.
Yeah, that's another fun thing about these things is that it'll just change your microphone input.
Yeah,
Who knows why?
love that.
Well, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. We had a little bit of a rainy morning this morning.
Dude, there's a tornado in Van Buren.
Oh,
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, and then I saw a video of it. It was like ripping up this little parking lot, and then
Oh gosh,
we're supposed to get like more storms either later tonight or tomorrow morning.
I had no idea. Yeah, I just it was a pleasant surprise waking up this morning to the sound of the storm. So, um, I I'm doing good, but I'm still a little depressed and hurt from last night. From
Bro,
the
well, I can't talk about it, man. I was like,
yeah,
I realized how excited I was, and then I had like these deeply painful feelings, and I had this thought of, I cannot do this again. I can't do this again.
right. It just
So-
took me back to the good old days, bro. And I was
Yeah.
just it was
So-
painful. Yeah.
We're talking about the OKC Thunder, who are
Mhm.
in the NBA Finals, in the playoffs,
Yep.
well, in the finals, championship game, well, series. If you're not familiar with the NBA, they play best of 7. And this was at OKC, right?
Yeah.
It's at OKC. At one point, OKC was up like 18 points. And
They were dominating the whole game.
yeah, and then at the very end, with like 0.1 seconds left, one of the Pacers players, they basically hit this awesome shot and this mid-range jumper, and they won by 1 point. So on the final second of the game,
Devastating.
it really was. It was extremely painful, and yeah. So I'm guessing you didn't see Age of Umbra last night.
No, I didn't because I was watching the game.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I assume Age of Umbra was still going on by the time it was ended, but I
Yeah.
was just in a bad mood at that point.
Were
Were you watching both?
Well, I was just watching the score ticker on the game because I don't have cable, or I didn't have a way to like pull it up and watch it. So I was watching Age of Umbra. Excellent.
How was it?
Excellent episode.
Ooh,
So
that has me
So
excited.
good. Such a good episode.
Well, how long was it?
It was about 3.5 hours, and just an awesome episode. I checked on Reddit today because this episode for me sold me on like Daggerheart and also like a campaign away from Exandria. I was like,
okay.
dude, I am so intrigued. This was so cool. Matt, this was like prime Matt. Like I was so
Oh wow.
he was doing so well, and I got on Reddit this morning. I was thinking it was gonna be more other people being like, yeah, and I
Was
think
there a bunch of
there's-
toxic?
bro, people hate Daggerheart. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh
And
no.
I don't know what's like a legitimate criticism, and then what's just like there is with any IP, there's just toxic fandom because it's just not what someone wants. And so I don't know what's like a legitimate criticism versus someone just mad that
Yeah.
like as I watched, and I'll slight spoiler, there is another combat in this episode.
Okay.
And it's a longer combat. And I actually really liked it. Like as it clicked for me, I was like, oh, okay. I'm seeing like the back and forth here with the DM and the players. And it just started to make sense for me. And so I really liked it. There were some very important roles that I can't spoil, but that is relevant to Daggerheart. And for those who saw it, you know what I'm referring to. And I really liked. I know Glimmy was in the chat last night. I'm not sure who else was in the chat, but you know those couple of roles I'm talking about that were just epic moments. Like I was like, dude, this is so. And even the players were like, this is so fun. And so I just, I mean, I'm excited just talking about it, obviously, but I'm okay if they do D&D in campaign 4. But having watched this, I was like, I'm okay with Daggerheart. I would totally be down for it. And I also, again, I would be up for a campaign away from Exandria. I mean, this setting is so cool. And Matt is just so, you can just tell he's in his element with this grimdark fantasy. So that's my very strong promotion of it, I guess.
I mean, that has me really excited because, I mean, you and I both liked episode 1, but this is like a whole other level of praise I'm feeling from you. So that this has me hyped to catch up.
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, and I think irrelevant of like the system, I think I saw a, I don't know. It's kind of hard to talk. It's hard to like find the right words because in campaign 3, I could tell they all enjoyed it, but like there was like an energy at the table in this session that I feel like I missed from the end of the campaign, which I think is kind of understandable in the sense of like you're getting to the end of something, like you're wrapping up, the momentum's kind of starting to peter off. So I think that's really less of a judgment on C3 and more of just like, this was a very fresh, fun feeling.
Okay, interesting.
Some things in the chat. Buttons and Bookends said, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Daggerheart, which we just mentioned. I do have one data point on that I'll get back to. Glimmy said, virtually anything that speeds up TTRPG combat is a win in my book. Yes, I really felt that. Like the lack of initiative made a lot of sense to me in this session. From what I've seen, the CR fandom has a real problem with parasociality. I think that's absolutely true. Yes. And it is, I think, a big part of the criticism here. I think a good illustration of this comment is back when, you remember when they did Team Asilra, Team Wildmount in campaign 3?
Yeah.
And there was like a Reddit comment that was like, how could they do this to us? Like, I can't believe they didn't give us any kind of heads up that like some of our favorite characters wouldn't be present. Because they had done like an announcement that they were going to stick with like one side for like several weeks. And I just remember reading that comment and I was like, dude, like, it just was a little weird, I guess. But anyway.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. And what, not that we have to get into it, but like what were the negative comments about Umbra? Like
strictly Daggerheart.
Okay.
Yeah. Negative criticisms are strictly around Daggerheart. Comments like, it just doesn't make sense to me. I just don't get it. It's boring. Just like different things like that were critiquing the system. Which I feel like I am very unbiased. I don't own Daggerheart. CR didn't pay us to talk about it. Like I have literally this is just personal opinion. And as someone who has DM'd D&D 2 campaigns, almost every other week for the last 4 years, I really enjoyed it. And I could even see myself like leading a Daggerheart campaign. So there. Yeah.
I can't imagine there's like what subset of people is watching Critical Role for the mechanics. You know what I mean?
Right.
It can't be that. I feel like that's got to be a minuscule amount of people, but I don't know.
I think some people are just a little intense about change and like things not being like, there's just been some comments over the last year or two of just like, oh, I didn't like that because it's not really what I wanted or what I envisioned. And I don't want to say petty, but like some of that's kind of my original point of like it's hard to wade through what's legitimate criticism and what's, like a legitimate
Yeah.
critique that I read was, well, I don't want to buy all the cards because I guess the game has like cards for your character, but it's
Mhm.
also, I think it's available online. I think you can get those things. You don't have to play with it, just like you don't have to play D&D with like a character sheet. But and then to your credit, Will, you begin in tavern also said the biggest barrier for me is not being familiar with the system like I am for 5e, but I don't watch CR for the flawless mechanics, but for the story. Last night had some great story moments for sure.
Ooh.
Very good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I understand that. Like being like maybe being a little lost or wishing you could follow around with what's happening better, but like maybe this is just based on my own bias in terms of when I first came to CR, I didn't know anything about D&D. So
Right.
like I was lost originally with 5e, but like you pick up on it, you know? And
Yeah.
so like I just think that like give it a couple weeks and that's
Yeah.
not really going to be an issue. I wouldn't think.
There is a
But
cool, and I might be butchering this as someone like learning it as we're going, but there is a cool like like momentum back and forth of in a 5e encounter, you have like legendary actions, and as the DM, you can choose when to use those, and often what you choose to do will dictate how many of those legendary actions you get. And it's not a jarring thing by any means, but there is sometimes an interrupt to flow of like, oh, I'm going to do a legendary action, or which is
Mhm.
fine, and it can be kind of exciting. The cool thing that I
Yeah.
noticed in Age of Umbra last night is I started to see this hope and fear mechanic in place, and especially as Matt had the abacus, as he was like sliding, like, oh, that's going to be another fear
Yeah.
for me. It started to click for me of like, oh, like as the players are doing riskier things, it's essentially giving this resource to the DM who can then in turn use it against the players. So there's kind of like there's just a little bit of a fun, like, oh, like I'm getting like this sort of synergy between the DM and the players that is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I don't understand that system at all. So like this question might not even make sense in light of how it works. But do you fear that that could be like adversarial in like a bad way?
I think it depends on the player or the table
Yeah.
for sure. I
Yeah.
think like I just talked to someone about this the other day about like what makes a good player, and like there's the player who the DM does something and the players or like something doesn't work out, or like the DM is like not gotcha, but just like, oh, you didn't know actually the baddie was around the corner. And there's the kind
Yeah.
of player who says like, oh man, I didn't know, no way. Oh, I had no idea.
Mhm.
Like this is crazy. And then you have the player who's like, that's not fair. Like what you didn't
Yeah.
tell us that. So like
Yeah.
I think that's less of a reflection of Daggerheart and more of you just got to have the right table. Like
Right.
for me, it was fun seeing the back and forth. I could definitely see with the wrong table there being rules lawyers or like, hey, you shouldn't, that's not right, or I want to do this first before you do that. And,
Yeah.
it's just, but it was kind of fun seeing Matt with the fear mechanic, especially when it stacked up. He was like, I'm going to use a fear to, like, he started like, there was like momentum building from it of like, I'm going to spend
Mm.
fear to do this, and then another fear, and then another fear. And it was very cool, but I could see
Yeah.
a player being like, dude, let me go. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so anyway. Buttons and bookends said,
Interesting. Well, I'm excited to see this all play out.
yeah.
But
Buttons and bookends said, it seems like Daggerheart's getting flagged not because of the incomprehensibility, but for the resistance to any shift. I think that's true. And again, I think people, whether it's parasocial relationships or just people who are just very deeply invested in Critical Role, I think it's like not unlike no matter what CR decides to do for campaign 4, there's going to be people who are mad about it. Even like small details, like campaign 4 is going to take place in Tal'Dorei. And I can see people being like, Tal'Dorei again? We've already gotten a Tal'Dorei campaign. Where's the Isilra campaign? Like
Yeah.
I can just see people mad about,
Oh, yeah.
just like that's what we decided to do. So
yeah. No, I mean the community's so big now. Literally, no matter what they do, there will be some people that are mad for sure.
Yeah. So anyway, well, definitely watch episode 2. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. We'll have a discussion and a recap on that next week. But also, I have a baby coming in like 5 days, so
No.
who knows what next week's gonna look like. I definitely like watching this episode though. I was like, oh man, I can't wait to talk about this. But I also wonder how that's gonna happen with the baby. So we'll just figure it out, I guess.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. I can try to watch it sooner rather than later if we want to try to get it done.
Yeah.
But whatever, we'll make it work.
What are you up to this weekend?
Nothing. I don't think. No, nothing out of the ordinary. At least.
What are you playing these days?
Not just Archero, man. That's
Are you
sadly
still playing that?
Yeah.
No way.
That's sad. That's like the only gaming I do is on my phone, which I don't. There's so many games I want to play, so maybe I'll get some in this weekend. I don't know if you're familiar with Deltarune.
Yes, only because someone I was in a conversation with someone about like hidden gems, and we were talking about Expedition 33, and then they asked if I had played Deltarune, and I was like, I've never even heard of it, and I still haven't looked anything up about it. Is that something you're playing?
So I'm not, but 2 new chapters of it came out. It's like a game that releases in chapters. You know Undertale?
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of Undertale? It's from the same guy.
Okay.
And they're loosely connected.
Okay, cool.
Perhaps even intimately connected depending on what happens in the story, but it's its own thing. But potentially very connected to Undertale as well. But yeah, anyways, so that just came out yesterday, like 2 new chapters of that after like it's been a couple years, I think, since the last one was released. But I probably will play Expedition 33 as like the next thing I actually check out.
I'd love to, man. I feel like my life's only getting busier.
Yeah.
I just remember being a kid and being like, when I'm an adult, I'm going to make all this money and just play video games all day. And
this is the way.
This is the way. But yeah, I'd love to try Expedition 33. I've heard about Deltarune. There's, I'm all about the age of indie games and $20, $30, $40 games. I want to try Balatro. I've heard good things about that one as being like really good game. Me too. And I like just deck building games too. I think it's kind of interesting and fun. Which I think I mentioned this last Friday. Me and our mutual friend have been playing the Bazaar, the Raynad game, which is pretty fun. It's a fun game. And it's free.
Yeah. It looks. I don't understand what I'm looking at, but it looks cool.
They give you a free ranked every day, which is nice. So it's kind of like part of my morning routine is get my coffee.
Yeah, ritual. Yeah, that's all Archero is for me. Just part of the ritual at this point. They keep adding a lot of cool stuff though.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm gonna resist I feel like
you probably should, since you've gotten out, you shouldn't get back in. But
the good thing about those kind of games is once you get out, you feel like you've lost so much progress from missing the daily checklist things that it's like, well, now I definitely shouldn't even take a look at it.
Right.
So I feel like I should pay you for the ad free that you gave me in that. Remember when you
Yeah. That was a gift. That wasn't a
I just remember like the night and day difference with that game of like once I got the ad pass, because it's one of those these are one of these apps that like every single screen you go to has an ad, like to the extreme. And Will gifted me the ad pass, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy.
Because can't go back after that.
At reset, I had my routine of like for an hour of like I'll click on this ad and put the phone down, because you had like certain rewards that you had to watch ads for. But if you had the ad pass, you would just get those rewards every day. But I had like a 30 or 40 minute like routine of just like, is this ad done? Nope. Okay. And then, so.
I did the same thing until one day I just couldn't handle it anymore. I was like, this is worth $5.
Yeah. Smart man.
Or however much it was.
I think it's like about that. Yeah.
And then speaking of games, Summer Game Fest is today. I'm excited.
Ooh, we might find out about an Arc Raiders shadow drop potentially today.
Oh, is that the
That's
The
the
Bungie game?
no.
Oh.
Oh, Will. What you just said was such a, for people who are like, just like with CR, for people who are over invested in this game, that would
Yeah.
be that would be an offensive thing to say.
Oh,
No, the
my
Bungie
bad.
game, the Bungie game is Marathon. Stocks are way down on that game right
Okay.
now. And people who love Arc Raiders very much do not like Marathon.
Gotcha.
I'm over characterizing this a lot. I'm sure there's people
Yeah.
don't even,
No, I get it.
you know, Don Draper, I don't think about you at all. I'm sure that's the case
Yeah.
too. But so a little bit of the backstory here, just for the sake of, you know, the show. Bungie made Destiny, great game,
Right.
crazy over monetized game, insanely monetized game, and a billion-plus-dollar company that did a very good job PR wise of sort of presenting their over monetization as, oh, that's just Blizzard, that's just Activision Blizzard. You know, now we're free from that. Now we're our own IP. Now we're owned by Sony, yada, yada, yada. Well, I think the cost to like get into Destiny, to like actually get all like the stuff you would need to actually do like the regular weekly stuff is like $700 if you want to do everything.
Ooh,
It's crazy, all
crazy.
the packs. Anyway, they announced a few years ago they were going to do Marathon, an extraction shooter, like Tarkov. And that game had its open beta recently. They had a big streamer round up with it, and reactions were very mixed. I personally think the game looks very bad. I think the visual style is very ugly. So all this to say, there was a lot of controversy following up with that of like the beta. They had a beta for people, and like the daily players like plummeted to like next to nothing. And then there was a big controversy where all of the art assets, not all of them, but many of the art assets had been stolen from an independent artist who, not cyberpunk, that's not like the style, but imagine if like Cyberpunk 2077, if someone ran a Twitter with like cyberpunk stuff, and then you looked at Cyberpunk 2077 and it wasn't just a similar style, but like picked up, copied, and pasted assets in the game.
Gosh.
So that's what happened with Marathon, was that
And they didn't like pay that person even. They just straight up stole it.
no, they just stole it. And this
Wow.
like small indie artist found out about it, tweeted about it. And by the way, Bungie has a history of doing this. They did it with Destiny and got in trouble for that. What Bungie did was they said, oh, that was an artist who's no longer with us. They're not longer with the company anymore. The very interesting thing is the lead art dev, the head of creative or whatever the title is, and like some of his team have all followed this artist on Twitter for like 3 or 4 years now.
Interesting.
So there's this interesting like disconnect of like, oh, you said it was like this rogue artist, yet your core team has followed this artist for years. Very interesting.
Yeah.
So at the same time, Arc Raiders dropped a technical test, this kind of like no-name game, I guess, and people adored it, loved it, thought it was incredible. All these major streamers were playing it, and like, this game is freaking awesome. And it's also an extraction shooter. And so now the momentum has shifted where it's like Marathon should be canceled. They should delay the launch of it, whatever. And people are all like insanely high on Arc Raiders. And there's been like this back and forth on like which game's the better game and, you know, kind of all that stuff.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like the long-winded, deeper explanation of your joke about like, is that the Bungie game? It's like, not quite.
Yeah.
But anyway, rumor
Okay, that's
is
funny, yeah.
rumor is that they're going to shadow drop it today because there hasn't been a release date on it.
Like, oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Because at Summer Games Fest, their previous game called The Finals, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I don't know the date, they also shadow dropped that game. And so the guess is that today they're going to be like, oh, hey, by the way, this game's available today. So who
Oh.
knows?
Did you play it in the test?
I did not, because I didn't find out about it till like the final day, and I didn't have a I didn't have an access key. So anyway. But yeah, so that's a little story time on what's going on in the gaming world, I guess.
Yeah,
So
I'm excited. I don't know if I'll be able to, but if I can, I might stream the event
oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. That give me
today.
some good stuff to check out while I'm doing a little work.
Yeah.
So anyway.
So we'll see.
Well, we're half an hour past. I think that's probably going to do it today. Again, join the Discord. Always something we like to talk about. We'll have our Age of Umbra episode 2 wrap up at some point. We'll have Worlds Beyond also very soon because we got the next episode of that on Tuesday.
That's right.
And otherwise, we appreciate you guys tuning in today, and we'll catch you later.
Yeah, y'all. Have a good weekend.